Right.
You mentioned women and how they may be the difference here. I'll show you why. I've been talking about this, but we have yet another. I think this is powerful to hear from women themselves. There's a new Instagram account called Abortion in America. It's sharing real women's harrowing stories of how these strict abortion laws due to Trump have personally affected them and their families. Listen to this story of just one of the women featured.
I found out I was pregnant. I went and had my anatomy ultrasound done. The doctor diagnosed the baby with Potter syndrome. And with Potter syndrome, babies only live a few minutes to a few hours. I could not get preterm induced due to the law, and I'm having to carry him to full term. I remember my OB handing me a baby boy that was blue and cold, gasping for air for 94 minutes. And I just held him. We just watched our son suffocate. The trauma I went through, I wish it upon no one.
Right. That was Deborah Dorbert, whose reel on Instagram has been viewed more than 50,000 times in less than a day. Her story was featured in the Washington Post back in May. A child she wanted, who would not survive, and yet she was denied the health care she desperately needed. That piece reads in part, the day before Milo was born, the Dorberts sat down with their son Caden to explain that the baby's body had stopped working and that he would not come home. Instead, someday, they told Caden they would all meet as angels. The 4-year-old burst into tears, telling them that he did not want to be an angel. So, Mark McKinnon, 2 daughters. I have 2 daughters. Joe has a daughter. Willie has a daughter. Mike Barnacle, you got daughters and granddaughters. And Claire, for all of our daughters, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican out there, this is the reality now. And I truly believe this is the issue that is already having crushing, gutting, wrenching ripple effects to women across the country. And it doesn't decide Democrat or Republican. This happens to all women.
Yeah, that's a brutal piece of video, and the reality that it represents is heartbreaking to a woman who has, particularly a woman who has had the honor and privilege and blessing to give birth. You know, the idea that you would have to carry a child to term that was going to die for no reason.
And suffer.
And suffer other than a bunch of politicians trying to score some political points. And that's what's so disingenuous about Ted Cruz. I mean, I watched him refuse to answer a question about whether or not he supported a national abortion ban. Refused to answer the question. Texas, wake up. Wake up, the women of Texas. What they have done in Texas is unbelievable. It's just like my state.
Yeah.
You know, I think of the young rape victims that I dealt with as a prosecutor, and sometimes children that were barely able, in terms of their age, to even give birth. And I remember, and there weren't many, but there were a few who had been impregnated by incest. Mm-hmm. And in my state, the politicians say, yeah, well, you've got to, you know, buck up, young 13-year-old. You're going to give your uncle's baby life. You're going to carry your rapist's, your stepfather's baby to term. This is really something that I think moves women in a way that many people in the Republican Party just don't get.
Right, and you heard it from Liz Cheney, who even understands that this is too extreme, but even more so, that suffering, that completely unnecessary trauma, that didn't have to happen. There was medical care available, and that has been used in the past for 50 years before it was taken away by Donald Trump. So this situation that Deborah went through, this trauma that not just Deborah went through, but her son Caden went through, her husband went through, their friends went through, their neighbors went through. This spirals out. The fact that what happened to her and the baby, Milo, was completely unnecessary because of Donald Trump. Rights and health care ripped away, Joe.
Because Donald Trump, because of old state legislators, because of men who think they know how to control women's bodies better than women know how to control their own bodies. Here we had a situation where Deborah, her husband, and her son had to go through unspeakable trauma. And we actually have a world, Mark McKinnon, created by Donald Trump and Trump Republicans, where this baby was born, and they knew he was going to suffocate slowly over 90 minutes. But this baby was born who suffocated slowly in front of everybody's eyes for 90 minutes. And that happened for one reason and one reason only, because Donald Trump and these state legislators and Trump governors decide they know better for women and their families what they should do than the women themselves. This is a tragedy for these women, but it's also a tragedy for the men and women, the mothers, the fathers, the grandmothers, the granddaughters, and the children who love them.
So powerful, Joe and Mika. That video is just heart-wrenching, and this will be the first.
There are many different ones,
and we will never hear about them. But it's one thing to have rights, or it's one thing not to have rights. It's another thing to have rights taken away from you. This will be the first post-Dobbs presidential election. And I think that this is going to be a huge factor that hasn't been that's really off the radar screen. And by the way, even Charlie Kirk, who's the tip of the spear for Donald Trump among young conservatives, says there's four things that he's worried about: abortion, animating Democrats, and he thinks that there's more Republican bleeds on this issue than has been recorded, especially, he says, in his home state of Arizona. He's worried about women really being more animated than men. And then finally, he says that the Democratic ground game. But 3 out of those 4 have to relate to abortion.
Yeah. Listen, as important as Trump's fascism is, and is the lead story every day, his cozying up to dictators, his obsession with Hitler that has now come out, what he has said about our veterans, and what he wants to do with the military against his political adversaries, it's all huge news. This is the future that we're looking at in the next Trump term, if there is one. But this is what voters know right now, that he is killing us. I'm talking about us women. He's killing us. He is putting us at risk. He is making us afraid to have babies. He is putting our reproductive health at risk, and some women have died already because of this. So we can see right now what's coming. These headlines, and very good reporting, by the way, that shouldn't be questioned by idiots about what Trump has said about Hitler, that's incredibly important to know. But I do understand that people who are busy and that are people who are just tapping in may not be able to comprehend, because we've been free. We've been comfortable. We cannot comprehend that. And I understand that. I validate that it is hard to go from here to there. It is where we're going. I hope we don't find out the hard way. But what's happening with women right now is real, and it is playing out across America.